I'm excited to welcome back IWI as a sponsor of the Three Gun Show. Longtime listeners will remember IWI in the Three Gun Show's runs at Red October and Kalash Bash with their Galil Ace. Available in 545 by 39, 762 by 39, and 556, the Galil Ace is an absolute dominator at AK matches. IWI has released a Gen 2 of the Ace with tons of upgrades featuring a free float M-lock handguard, an updated trigger profile, shortened safety throw, and it now ships with a Magpul CTR stock with a little cheek riser in there so you can see through your scope. And now IWI has joined the AR-15 game as well. Their Zion 15 is available in both a 12.5 or 16-inch barrel with a 5.56 chamber, and it features a free float handguard in 11.5 or 15 inches respectively. With a mid-length gas system and 1.8 twist, the IWI checks all of the boxes at an incredibly low price. Whether you're looking for a bullpup, traditional rifle, or a pistol, IWI has several options to satisfy your needs. This episode of the Three Gun Show is sponsored by IsoTune Sport. IsoTune Sport makes advanced Bluetooth hearing protection for shooters. My hearing is very important to me for obvious reasons, and I absolutely love how quickly their tactical sound control reacts to cut out loud gunfire. One feature, though, that I never thought I would use on the range is Bluetooth technology, and I'm actually kind of loving it. IsoTune Sport Ear Pro easily connects to my phone, and from there I can listen to some Beastie Boys or Poison or even a podcast to get me in the zone while I'm setting up for practice or zeroing a rifle, something like that. And if I'm caught by surprise by gunfire from the next bay over, I know that my hearing is safe. Lately, I've been rocking the wireless in-ear caliber model because they are lightweight, have a great battery life, and won't get tangled in the buttstock of my long guns. You can check them out for yourself. I'll have a link in the show notes at 3gunshow.com. I'm pumped to be working with IsoTune Sport, and I thank them for sponsoring the show. Welcome, everybody, to the Three Gun Show. Welcome to you. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Dave Hartman, and this is episode 337, which you can find show notes to at 3gunshow.com/337. And you're going to want to check this out. I got a couple links in there that you're going to want to look at. And those are coming up in a minute here. You'll hear a couple in the show, and one I want to tell you about right now. But first, I want to tell you that we're proud to be a part of the Firearms Radio Network. Cool dudes over there. Happy to be a part of it. Does that mean I just called myself a cool dude? I don't know. Anyway, you may remember from episode 334 that Todd Lewis wanted to give away a couple guns to Three Gun Show listeners from his wonderful sponsors. And we were going to do it on Instagram. And the point of that was to show the joy of shooting and to show happy people using guns and being happy while doing it. That was the goal. Share some positivity out there in kind of a negative time in our country's discourse, I guess. So anyway, we wanted to put some positivity out there, and Instagram shadow banned us. So that's what they think about us. Anyway, so listen after the podcast here, and you'll hear an update on that. So for the people that entered, there's an update for you. If you haven't entered, you still have an opportunity. So after the podcast, Todd Lewis will be here, and he'll explain to us how to go forward with that. But hey, this week, we're going to be talking about USPSA two-gun nationals. And this is a match I shot a couple weeks ago at a Cameo shooting range in Colorado. And it was freaking fun. It was PCC-Pistol. And that's all I'm going to tell you for now. You have to listen to the ups, the downs of me shooting borrowed gear, breaking stuff in the freaking 103-degree weather, and much more. And my buddy Amax is here to be the guest host, and he interviews me on the Two Gun Nationals. So enjoy this one with me, Dave Hartman.
It's time, everyone. We are back for another episode of the Three Gun Show. I am not Dave Hartman. I'm Adam Maxwell. Today, he has foolishly given me the helm of the Three Gun Show because he is in the hot seat to tell us about the match that he went to. How's it going, Dave?
Dude, it's going great. I haven't done this. I haven't turned over the hosting duties since like episode 100 when Tommy Thacker in the Timney trailer from like Three Gun Nation Nationals like 2016. So it's been a bit. This is weird sitting in the passenger seat, but I'm excited.
It's kind of like that first time you let somebody else drive your new car.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're pretty sure they won't crash it, but they might crash it.
Like, you know how to drive a manual, right?
Yeah. Can you slip the clutch?
That's exactly what we're doing here.
All right, but we are here today to talk about your experience at the USPSA Two-Gun Nationals.
Yeah, Two-Gun Nationals. Woo!
It seemed like a good idea at the time, but was it? Let's find out.
Well, it's interesting because if you've been following the Three Gun Show for any period of time, you know that I have strong opinions about PCC, and and I just went and shot a PCC-Pistol match.
I heard when they announced this match, what was it, last year they did it the first time? I pretty much rage quit. I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. Dude,
I was the same way.
Nationals.
Like, well, so first of all, I don't have a PCC, so that kind of decided it for me last year. But then this year it was only 5.5, 6 hours away, so I decided I got to go check that out. Actually, Forrest decided for me, and he made me go. But I didn't really have a choice in the matter.
Decider.
Mm-hmm. However, tooling up for this, like watching match footage from last year, I actually got pretty excited for the match.
Why is that?
So it looks like fun. So one, I was watching Scott Green and Max Leogranis on the YouTubes, and they make it look easy. And it looked like a good time, right? And then come to find out, the format is like the USPSA targets, like the humanoid targets, were for your pistol, and then the IPSC targets, the IPSC targets that are like hexagonal, those are for your PCC. And then steel was optional, and I started thinking like, oh, well, that could add like some dimension to it because, like you, Adam, I like a healthy bit of options. If it's going to be options for the sake of options are kind of dumb, but this actually made it so it was interesting, and then there was a unique problem to solve. And I like new and novel things. And then after having Jake Martins and Shannon Smith on the Three Gun Show earlier in the year, it just kind of got me thinking like, well, maybe I should be taking a better look at USPSA. So that's what made me finally shoot it.
Yeah, I've definitely come around to USPSA myself, or just, I don't know if it's just a phase of life that I got more interested in or whatnot. But I do like, despite all the noise that's going on in the organization, I do actually like the direction that it's heading.
Well, here's an interesting thing so I agree. And here's an interesting thing that I had not really considered until you and I talked about Boomer Nationals, which was the Ruger Classic Nationals, is that it is the main stage, and that it is competition turned up to the highest notch. And I thought, oh yeah, that's a pretty good point. Like when you go to a lot of Three Gun matches, we always say that it's always a national championship, and it doesn't really matter because there's a national championship next weekend. But for USPSA, they actually have like a hierarchy of level 1, level 2, level 3 matches, and I don't remember which way it goes, but they, they have club matches, they have sectionals, and then they have area matches, and then they have national matches. And so this was a national match. So that part I was pretty excited for.
Yeah, for sure. The structure is definitely something we envy in the sport of multi-gun. We've been looking for a long time for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do like that about that organization.
Yeah, and then I guess the last part of that was my so last year my employment situation changed involuntarily. So it's caused me to make different decisions than I normally would have. And so I'm trying to do things on inexpensively, I guess, or as least travel and least expenditure as possible. So the fact that Forrest could pay for $6 a gallon diesel and I could get the hotel room made it a pretty good sell.
Yeah, agreed. It's definitely been a unique dynamic this year for the over the road match shooting. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting into this match, in the lead up to it, I think there was some chatter on the socials and the webs. What was that all about?
Well, so the match was in Cameo, Colorado, which is just outside of Grand Junction. Colorado has their 15 round magazine limit. They have a magazine ban for all intents and purposes. However, the magazine ban the legislation is written so poorly that it's not enforced in Colorado. And like I say, like all laws are not enforced until they're enforced. So I wouldn't say that you're safe, but as a shooting culture, we've been flying under the radar since 2012. 2013. So that's 9 years. However, a Blue Falcon in the USPSA ranks, a concerned competitor, if you will, notified Ceasefire Colorado, which is a gun control group, that this match was happening. And that, I feel, man, there's some things you just don't do. Like, do we need to have a talk about guy code again? I mean, I can't. I'm really getting angry as I'm talking about this.
It's Benedict Arnold. Let's just leave it at that.
It's Benedict Arnold, and
you kids don't know what that is, look it up.
Yeah, man. We saw it in Red Dawn with the guy that swallowed the bug and led the Russians to the resistance. We don't do that,
So my understanding of the law is it applies to it's around the sale of magazines for Colorado residents. Is that
so? Interesting way of putting that. Yes and no. So basically, it bans the possession of magazines with more than 15 rounds in the state of Colorado. Right? Mm-hmm. Unless you had them before the legislation went into effect in June of 2013. Now, for those playing at home, if you're going to travel to this match, you should know that. If you're going to shoot a Cameo, you should know that. You should be aware of that. However, it is almost impossible for anyone to prove what day your magazines were made when your magazines were made, unless they're PMags or unless the magazine technology was invented after June of 2013. Now, I'm not advocating breaking the law or lying or anything, but who's to say when your stuff was made, and
innocent until proven guilty.
Well, yes. And again, you'll probably beat the rap, but you won't beat the ride sort of thing. So I totally understand people's misgivings on that, but that's something that you as an adult should deal with on your own and not throw your buddies under the bus or a whole organization on the bus because you're mad at the board. And granted, I look at the board of USPSA and I think that they're garbage and not really doing anything to advance the sport. And I think they're like a lot of boards. And I think they're like a lot of politicians. And I'm going to go back to the thing that I say all the time.
That was this guy's plays. He was upset with the organization, so he did this. That's
what I'm guessing, because because of all the shit posting I've seen after that, it looks like it was a coordinated sort of thing. But there's probably more going on behind the scenes that I'm not privy to as well. Anyway, so
for sure,
I do have to say, I finished that thought off and we can move on. Stop voting for old fuckers. And whether it's the board of your range, whether it's the school board, whether it's politicians, stop voting for these 60 to 70-year-old boomers that have no clue what the fuck they're doing, no clue about modern technology and what the people want, and are just taking that up because they have time and they're volunteering. That's all I have to say about that.
Different way.
That's all I have to say about that.
Look around at everything going on right now, and if you don't like it, one of my favorite James Yeager quotes: "When no one is selected, you are elected."
Yeah, so that's
if you don't like the direction of USPSA, if you don't like the direction of your township, if you don't like the direction of your school board, congratulations, you're running.
Like much nicer way to say what I just said, and we'll go with Amax's version.
Yeah, and that's why like I'm, if we listen to other shows about USPSA, they're very negative. I'm very optimistic about USPSA, because it's gonna sound crappy, but our generation is getting involved. People I relate with are running. And
that's honestly what we need. I think again, I don't want to spend any more time on this than we have to, but I think people. Adam, you went to public school. I went to public school. You went to college. I went to college. I went to a state college. You're taught your entire life to follow rules and to listen to authority. And that is not a good plan if you want to have a good life. You have to be the authority. And so if you're not happy with USPSA, as a lot of people aren't, I would say become a part of it.
All the systems are set up to be a reflection of their membership.
And you can't, exactly. You can't change things from the inside.
Don't feel the organization represents you, then it's on you to voice your opinion and not voice it at the USPSA on Instagram, because only
poor Jake Martins.
Yeah, only Jake Martins sees that, and he's already on our side. He already gets it.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not the one you have to convince.
By the way, I shot with him this weekend, so I have thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Jake Martin's solid dude. Shot with him several times, and he's part of the solution. But he's one guy. All right, he needs other people in other positions, and he needs support of the membership. He needs to be able to point to the support of the membership to do stuff. So, at the USPSA on Instagram is the most millennial thing you could do that solves nothing.
What did Mike Foley say about millennials?
Well, something that got him fired. So,
all right. Well, anyway. So you mentioned Jake Martin, so that's a good transition to when we arrived. Okay. So to wrap that up, gun control group was called. They notified the busybody senator that gave like a nasty finger wagging of, I can't believe y'all are breaking the law. They didn't say y'all in Colorado, whatever Californians say. But so there was a lot of people that were worried that there were going to be like cops roaming the match and things like that. But the thing is, like, Cameo Shooting Center is a state-run shooting center. The guy, Walt, that runs the place with his staff is a state employee. He's from the Colorado Parks and Recreation. He is a law enforcement officer. So that guy wants us there. He wants USPSA there. He wants USSL there. He wants NRL there. He wants a girl and a gun site. He wants like all these events there because it justifies their existence. It justifies their budget. And then they get to keep having this range, right? Just like any sort of state entity, you have to justify your existence. So they're not the ones that would be enforcing any sort of magazine thing. So then you're like, okay, well, what would the senator do? Direct the state patrol to be there? State patrol has no probable cause to go through anyone's bags. So local cops, they don't have any probable cause. Sheriff, he doesn't have any probable cause, and he's already said that he wouldn't enforce the law because it's so poorly written as to not be clear on who is and is not violating the law. Okay, so I'll put a link in the show notes to this right here. I highly recommend you go read it and then try to enforce that yourself. Anyway, so Forrest and I get to the range on Friday around 11 o'clock. We had to leave butt ass early from Cheyenne, but luckily Forrest was driving, so it was okay. And when we got there, go over to the registration area, and there's Troy McManus for USPSA DNROI, Jake Martins, director of media for USPSA, and also the match director of this match because USPSA doesn't currently have a president. And then Walt, I forget his last name, but the dude that runs the range. All of them look like, a worn out person who had just set up a match, and they looked a little shell shocked, but they were super friendly. We filled out our waivers and everything like that. And I gotta say, USPSA is doing something really cool. They're giving away a patch when you sign up for the match instead of like a match T-shirt and a baseball cap and a baseball cap. So, did you get a match or a patch from Classic Nationals?
Heck yeah, I did,
dude.
And Multigun Nationals.
Oh, did you really?
Kept them.
Yeah, so I got mine too. It's already on my 3-gun bag, but I haven't. It's 2-gun Nationals, and I haven't got rid of it. But it's like a patch all done in the same style. It's really cool because gun culture's into patches, but then it also reminds me of like the Spartan races where you collect a medal from each race that you did. You got one from the sprint, one from the super, one from the beast, and then you put them all together and they're your trifecta. It's like a 3 little puzzle piece. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, so that's kind of a cool little memento that you can get from each of these matches this year that USPSA is doing. So I thought that was really cool.
I believe they also glow in the dark, which appeals to my inner child.
Now I kind of want to pause and go try it out. So, so apparently it does my inner child as well.
All right. So when you got there, you got signed in. What did walkthrough day look like?
So walkthrough day was hot, and we got there at 11 o'clock. So the sun had already come up over the canyon, and Cameo is in this big canyon where the Colorado River is. So like, a dozen years ago, maybe 10,000 years ago, I don't know. There was a glacier that melted, ran a whole bunch of water through it, and there's this huge canyon that's hundreds and hundreds of feet high. And on the other side is the Grand Mesa on the east side. And so the sun doesn't come up over that until later in the morning, which is kind of nice because then it keeps the heat off of you for a while. You're in the shade. But when we got there at 11 o'clock in June, it was hot as shit. And Friday was 103 degrees when we got in the truck. 100 and some degrees on Saturday, and then Sunday, luckily we got off the range before it got to 100, but it was super hot. So when we walked through, of course the ROs are shooting their last 2 stages, but the Cameo range is exactly how a state would make a range. Super flat, big berms, very square, like you could definitely run a laser level down the side. It was done very well. Just like, actually kind of reminded me of Forest Lake, how it's like super flat and the ranges or the berms have like really sharp angles and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Very well done. And the stages were all set up and it looked awesome. And I was super surprised to see that like a lot of the targets were really wide open. And we were, when Forrest and I were practicing this, we were practicing on like small targets, skinny Sammies, because we had watched a lot of the match footage from previous years. Again, Scott Green stuff, Max Leogranis, and some other people. And they were shooting like clay pigeons, and it looked like they had a lot of no shoots and partials and things like that. So that's what we practiced. But a lot of the targets were like super wide open. So we kind of got the feeling like, okay, this is going to be really fast. These are going to be really fast stages.
Okay. And all the stages, were they up in that main area, or did they use multiple areas of the range?
That's a good question. So they had 12 stages, and those 12 stages were all in one area, and that's the I guess like the main bay area of Cameo. And if you're going to go to Cameo, it's good to know that you just can't drive to the stages. You do have to walk to the stages. But during the actual match, this is great. they have a bunch of UTVs there, and you can actually rent them like you rent a golf cart at a golf match. What do they call it? Golf tournament. Yeah. Golf thingy, golf place, golf course. There we go.
Sports ball.
So you can actually rent, UTVs there, like 4-seaters. But we didn't rent one. Beforehand, it didn't say that in any of the literature that I saw, and it may have, but I just didn't read that part. And then, I guess we just kind of forgot about it. But two sets of people on our squad had UTVs that they rented, which was pretty cool. But during the actual match, if you had to go from like one set of bays to another set of bays, and it was like that, like we shot 12 the first day, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in that order. And so we had to go from like one set of bays to the other. When you were done with your stage, you turn around, there's an old dude sitting in a UTV, and he's got a trailer with benches on it. And
oh, really?
Yeah. And he's like, you guys need a ride? And I'm like, yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Actually,
thank you, Santa Claus. And, yeah, so then they just take you to, they already know where you're going, because that's what they're doing all day, is just taking squads like that. And so, they walked you to your next stage, which was really cool. So, that's getting past walkthrough. That's getting into, stages. But, yeah, when we got to walkthrough, we covered a lot of ground, but we did it as expediently as possible, trying to keep conversations to a minimum so we could get off the stage and not be there for the super heat of the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were trying to manage exposure to heat. So with it being 103 degrees when we left the range, we went straight to the Safeway and grabbed a bunch of Pedialyte, Powerade, and stuff like that.
And so you're saying that after last year was a lot of tight shots and technical shooting, and then this one was set up more as speedball? Yeah, so Forrest mentioned that to Jake. So Jake was the match director on this one, which again, it's supposed to be, I believe it was supposed to be like the president or something. But since they ousted the president of USPSA, Jake Martins took over on it, and he did a great job. So he, in designing the stages, like him and Shannon Smith designed the stages, or he and Shannon Smith designed the stages. So in designing the stages, they had like different intents and different purposes for each stage. But they also had designs intended for hardcover and steel hardcover, which is kind of interesting. I was not familiar with steel hard. I just remembered. Remind me about steel no shoots, but they had steel hardcover, which we're going to go over the targets. However, the target vendor did not deliver on time, so it ended up being like a lot of wide open targets. Oh,
yeah. So sometime in mid-July, there'll be a shipment of steel heading to Cameo. That is
in time for Surefire.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Surefire can borrow targets from USPSA, but that'd be nice if they could.
So steel, they had steel no shoots, or they were gonna.
So there was one steel no shoot. So there was two bobbers, and one was a single presentation, and one was a just a constant bobber, right?
Yeah.
And so the single presentation in multi-gun rules, if it disappears, it's a bonus target, right? So that was a handgun target, and I actually got that on the second day, so I got a 10-second bonus for shooting it, which was pretty cool. And then the other bobber was a multiple presentation, like it just kept bobbing up and down, it's like a swinger, but it just goes straight up and down. And so the target, or the steel that they placed in front of that was white. And not thinking in USPSA terms, I'm just walking through like la la la, whack whack, like throw a couple rounds at it, and then yeah. And then someone mentioned that it was a no shoot, and I'm like, no, that can't be. Like, there's no steel no shoot. That's dumb. And then sure shit, there is a steel no shoot, and so it was a full size USPSA steel, metric target, and it was a no shoot. Yeah, so careful.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. So if you hear a ding, like, oh God, I hope I hit the one on the side that was black and not the I hit the hardcover, not the no shoot.
So, this is my mental block with the whole thing, but how do they test the handgun and a carbine in an interesting way, shooting the same projectile?
Man, that's a great question. And so that's actually a legit problem and a thinker for match director. Like, this is not an easy match to put on, right? So because they're the same projectile, if you go over to a target and it's got, it's supposed to have 2 hits and it's got 4 hits, then it's almost a complete reshoot, because you can't tell, like, okay, well, did he shoot that with his PCC or did he shoot that with his handgun? Like, the ROs really have to pay attention. And
so is that the move? If you're having a bad run, you just burn 2 in the wrong target and you get a reshoot?
So I tried to, I was trying to think about
Allegedly?
that. Yeah, I was trying to think about that, like how that would go. And I forgot exactly how the rules stated, but I kind of ran that one by Jake a couple times. And then because he was on, I can't remember if I mentioned that, but I shot with Jake Martins and I shot with Troy McManus of USPSA. They were all on our squad. But I was trying to game that with Jake and he was laughing. And then I think Troy McManus came up and told me the rule exactly of why you shouldn't do that. And not that I was planning on doing it, but I was kind of trying to think of, like, well, that's, I guess maybe it's the 3-gunner in me, but just like once you're told you can't do something, now you're trying to think of a way you can do it, and maybe that's what. And again, like,
that's why the rule book's so big.
Oh, that's another fun conversation I had, was like, your rule book's too big. And Troy's like, well, if you see one you don't like, email me and we'll see what we can do. I'm like, oh, well, I had not expected that, sir, but I will read your rule book now. So
He'll delete it, but
no, I mean, I don't know. I got the sense that he was really open to it. So, we talked on the 3-gun show with Jake and Shannon about Multigun, and I gotta admit, like, I was a little bummed out with Shannon's attitude toward Multigun, specifically toward shotgun. And I heard that feedback from a lot of the 3-gun show listeners. But in talking to Jake and Troy, it does sound like USPSA is really open to progressing Multigun in USPSA. And I have this as like one of the last things we're going to talk about. But, I asked, like, well, why aren't we doing this with centerfire rifle? And the obvious reason is that there's a lot of PCC shooters in USPSA, and there's a lot of handgun shooters in USPSA, right? But there's not a lot of multi-gun shooters. And so in creating a 2-gun match, they decided to take their most popular divisions and put them together. Totally makes sense. However, there's no reason that you can't run a pistol centerfire rifle match or a pistol shotgun match or the other two in under USPSA multi-gun rules. So you can even run single long gun match. You can even run single long gun match. So rifle or shotgun under multi-gun rules. The only thing you can't run under multi-gun rules is pistol, obviously, because there's a pistol rule book. So that said, like, I do think that they're open to it. And, I just criticized Shannon. So I will say that, this match, he did a fantastic job of administrating and running that, and it ran smooth as hell. So very well done.
Yeah. And being genuine to the audience, I know more about that than I'm allowed to talk about, but Jake Martins is our advocate.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say about that.
For sure. So, and it was great to, have some extra time. You know how it is when you're like, resetting targets and stuff like that and BSing in between stages. It was great to have some extra time with those guys to be able to talk about, multi-gun and the things that we can do and things like that. And some ideas that I had and some things that, they want to see in the future. So,
but back to, I guess, like, core concept, like, Why? What were the things that they did to bring out the carbine that wouldn't just make me want to hose this whole thing with my open pistol?
Well, I will say that so Forrest was shooting open and I was shooting limited, and we were walking stages together. So there was a lot of different opportunities that he saw that I would not necessarily have even thought about because he's shooting an open pistol. And I'm guessing that guys that were shooting the match that are typically pistol shooters and maybe carry optics or open saw a lot of different opportunities than I did as well. So I'll say that, like, once you put a dot on that pistol, it, you know, like you said, you can run faster, or you can shoot faster than you can run. So it does become a completely different game. But we did have, I guess, 12-inch round steels at 75 yards. So, you know, ordinarily, like, you'd think, like, okay, I can take that with my pistol, but I got a rifle. I might as well take it with that rifle.
Yeah, right.
And so I was shooting borrowed gear. I was shooting 14.5-inch JP PCC, and I zeroed at the Scott Green 17 yards. And why? The Scott Green 17 yards.
What's that?
Scott Green zeroes his guns at 17 yards.
Oh, just because, like, that's how big his backyard is, or something like that.
Well, I think the real answer is that that's the typical range, or maybe the longest range that he sees in USPSA matches that he goes to.
Oh, so he doesn't have height over bore.
Everything's point of aim, point of impact. You know.
Oh, okay.
And so that's dot on pistol and PCC, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. He may have said this on the podcast at one point, but I do remember him saying that. But it's like the 147-yard zero we did on April Fool's a couple years ago. At first, you're like, really, 17 yards? It doesn't make any sense.
I still say that in classes. It gets people.
But yeah, so I zeroed 17 yards, and then went back to 50, thinking like, okay, 50 is probably the farthest that we'll see with the PCC, and it was within an inch everywhere with the GMR 13 that I was borrowing. So I didn't bother figuring it out. And then once we get to the match, it's like, oh, 75 yards. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna dead hold that thing and see where it lands. And sure enough, dead hold was good enough.
And so, showing more of my ignorance, what were the divisions and how did those break down?
Dude, that is a great question. Okay, so I'm so glad you're hosting this and not me. So
I had a good teacher.
So there's limited and open division, which was kind of cool, right? And because it's multi-gun, there's no classification, so everyone's lumped together, right? So there's no masters, no A, no GMs. It's all everybody. Which is
BS. But I digress.
I don't know. It made awards fast, but
well, that's all right.
I know, right? It means you can catch a
play. Hi, Senior D. Hi, ladies C. Oh my God!
Oh, did they really go that deep?
Oh yes, they do.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, anyway, no wonder we allocated 5 hours for awards, so maybe that's why we did that. But anyway, it did not take 5 hours. But anyway, so there's limited and there's open division, and it's based on your pistol because there's USPSA rules. So it's USPSA multi-gun limited, which is what basically a 3-gun limited is because everybody ripped off the USPSA book, right? And then there's USPSA multi-gun open, which is basically an open blaster from pistol match, right? So the only difference really is that limited, the only difference from a pistol match is that limited you can shoot 9mm because it's all scored as minor. All right.
Okay, so no major at all.
No power factor. It's multi-gun rules. So 2 on paper or 1 in the A or 2 anywhere. So that was one thing that Forrest and I were also saying is like, oh, it'd be kind of cool if it was scored targets, but then after my performance, I'm really glad it was not scored targets. So,
well, yeah, I mean, I guess I would kind of rather be scored targets.
Yeah, honestly, I think that would be kind of fun, which I think is one of the interesting things about PCSL. Anyway, the PCC has its own division in USPSA, right? So it's PCC, whatever PCC rules are. And as you know, it's like open. So you can have multiple dots, huge extendo mags and shit like that. The funny thing is when you throw it in the multi-gun rule book, open division can now put bipods and bags on the PCC. Now there was there was really no occasion where that would make sense. In this match, however, with the proliferation of stage tripods in USPSA, I could see that being something in the future. Mm-hmm. But in this match, I didn't see anyone really take advantage of that.
Scotty G didn't try it?
Scott G wasn't there.
Oh.
He was avoiding a misdemeanor.
My bad.
Unfortunately. Yeah, so I guess good time to talk about that. Like, last year there was like 224 people in this match, and this year there was like 146, I believe. And I believe all of that was just due to the uncertainty of what would happen when they came to the match.
Well, I think the numbers I've heard around the country this year so far, I mean, you're seeing 30% shrink just from inflation and current events.
I hear that. However, the week previous, Area 1, 388 shooters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and maybe that's down 100 because I hadn't been paying attention the previous year, but yeah. So anyway, limited and open division is the answer to your question.
Okay. And so gear wise, what were you running?
So I borrowed a PCC because I don't have one that's appropriate for competition. And I've done that 4 times over the years, borrowed PCCs for a match. 3 of them I've borrowed have been JP GMR 13s. One of them was a Thurin Defense that I borrowed from Ruben. And at 3-Gun Nation, I forgot what that was, like Southwest Regional, whatever the one in Texas was. Yeah. We all shot on a squad. That was awesome.
Where I beat Rick Birdsall.
Where you beat Rick Birdsall. And
still remember Rick.
Rick still remembers too. And this podcast is brought to you by AmmoSeek. AmmoSeek is a search engine for ammunition, components, guns, and magazines that constantly searches the internet and updates prices. Now more than ever, you need your dollars to go as far as possible in competitive shooting. AmmoSeek can help you do that. Just go to ammoseek.com, start typing in the text box, or use their helpful drop downs. And whether you're looking for 22 LR, 9mm, 12 gauge, centerfire rifle, whatever, you'll just find it in seconds. For example, when I'm looking for some 55 grain Hoser ammo for 3-gun, I select rifle and then 55 grain projectile weight. And then because I'm a bit of a case snob, I'll select brass under case material. Hit the go button and AmmoSeek automatically sorts the results by the lowest cost per round. If I'm searching for something specific, like my favorite precision rifle round, again, I'll select rifle, and this time I'll type in the part number 80267, and boom, latest prices and retailers. And don't worry, if you're not a weirdo like me and you don't have your favorite ammo part numbers memorized, you can search by all kinds of parameters to narrow it down to exactly what you're looking for. And the information is constantly being updated. Within 5 minutes of ammo being available on a site, it's on AmmoSeek. Shoot more for less by shopping smart at ammoseek.com. Now let's get back to the show. So anyway, the JP Stone Cold reliable, so thumbs up to them for being reliable. The one that I borrowed was a 14.5 inch, and my buddy that let me borrow it had a 45 degree Razor Red dot on there, so I just left that bad boy. And then he had a Spitfire, but I wanted to use the Huey. Just because I like the Huey, and I thought that it would be good for what I was expecting to be shooting, and I was glad that I did, because I had the Gen 2 Huey on there. Thumbs up, would absolutely shoot that in a PCC match again. Love that freaking reticle on there. So yeah, that was awesome. And then I borrowed a selection of mags, anywhere from a I guess 140 millimeter legal Glock mag that had a like Terran base pad on it, like you would typically have in your Glock pistol. That was my holdout reload that I always had on my belt, up to a 57 round Glock mag with the MBX extension. It got to 57 rounds, and kind of found some interesting things. One, PCCs don't like to be dumped in trash cans because it
who knew
launches those mags off of there, and maybe that's why people were dropping their mag and ejecting. But Dave did not have that program in his head. So I broke my friend's Glock mag, dumping it, and with the MBX thing coming off, and then the RO was like, "Yeah, that happened to me before. I've seen that." And then the timer was like, "Yeah, you can't do that with MBX mags." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Maybe tell me that before I come up to this." No, I'm just kidding.
Good to know.
So I borrowed a 30 something, maybe it's 37 or 47 round mag from Jake Martin's, and I broke that the next day. So it cost, and when I say it broke the mag, like you think, oh well, it just took a little bit of plastic on there, we can just slide this base pad back on. No, I did that with the 57 round mag, and it turned into a salt shaker on a stage because it was not stable. So that tube now needs to be tossed, and luckily I have two that I bought here a long time ago, so I can replace my friend's magazines. But yeah, I broke two mags. So if you're gonna do something like this, those Magpul drums, the 50 round drums, are looking pretty awesome. And those
are very intriguing.
Yeah, dude, there was a couple guys on our squad that had them, and they ran like clockwork, never one mouth, and it left a lot of room in that dump bucket, So I would say go with those bad boys there. Oh, and I know ammo is contentious for PCCers. Seems like they're chasing like hot / heavy loads to try to activate the comp or whatever. You're laughing. Is this something common I don't know about?
No. Josh fought that fight 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And believe me, if anybody would have figured it out, it would have been him. So just it's the federal action pistol PCC load. Just shoot that. Well,
I just went through my garage and I'm like, okay, what's the hottest load I have a lot of? And it was the Fiocchi 115s. That's pretty damn hot compared to the hottest stuff that I've used out of the pistol is the American Eagle. That's tested on a chrono. That is the fastest FPS that I've tested. The second being the Fiocchi 115s out of the blue box, and I had a shitload of that, so I just used that in my PCC. But then I brought like a 124 minor load for my my STI 2011 that I used. So, yeah, and then normal belt gear. It's just I took one of my Glock pistol mags and tilted it to the side so I could reload from the front like all the cool kids do, and that was about it.
Yeah, I just think the ammo thing's funny because I think people are spending a ton of energy chasing something that ain't gonna pay off compared to something else you could do at that time.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And then pistol wise, you shot your STI?
Yeah, I shot my typical my 3-gun pistol, the STI 2011. It's the DVC 3-gun that I've got. And yeah, thumbs up, would shoot again. However,
boring.
Yeah, totally boring. It appears that I need to get have you heard of this? A magazine, am I saying this correctly? Brush? It's like a brush for your magazine. Apparently you're supposed to.
There is such a thing, yes.
Apparently you're supposed to clean your magazines.
Yeah, they actually sell a 50-pack of them at Costco.
So
you get the microfiber towels.
Oh yeah, there you go. So Forrest has like a microfiber towel with like a coated rod that's attached to it, so you can just shove the rod through the base of the mag and then pull the whole coated towel through the top. And so I ended up borrowing his, but the terrain at Cameo was follower sticky for 2011.
Magageddon.
I'm sorry?
It's Magageddon.
Yeah. It definitely stuck some mags, so I was forced to clean mags against my will. Usually I don't clean mags unless James Gill makes me. But because if you shoot with James, he's going to shame you into cleaning your mags, and no one else really gives a shit about my gear except for James. So I was forced to clean mags against my will. So yeah, you're going to need one of those if you shoot at a Cameo for sure.
Yeah, like Atlas is doing a promotion right now on magazine loadouts. So they asked various team members what their loadout is for match. And I was like, no one would buy mine. I have so many. I have like 12 or 20. I don't even know how many I have, but I can shoot the whole day with loaded 2011 magazines. I don't have to load magazines anymore. These are the first world problems.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Atlas has put so many mags on prize tables lately that like my mag index has gone way up.
Well, I mean, that's the best thing to pick up on a prize table because everybody uses them.
Yeah, right. And then like, so gear wise, what were you wearing like apparel wise for the heat conditions and stuff like that?
Well, so I did wear just normal 511 khaki pants. That wasn't too bad. I would rather have shot in shorts, but it's probably a good idea to limit sun exposure. I guess. I don't know. Kind of wish I had shorts on. But the first day I had like a Vortex long sleeve like moisture wicking shirt, not the Sun Slayer, but I forgot what the other one's called. And so that kept the sun off me. But the second day I was just like in a like synthetic shirt, and it was fine. Kind of wish I had a sombrero or some sort of like yard work hat would have been awesome. But yeah, just load up with sunscreen. Definitely managing the heat was an issue. I drank probably more at the match than I ever have drank before at a match. And typically I'll do like 20 ounce per stage, but I drank way more than that. And, hardly ever peed. So it was definitely being sweated out. So managing the heat was unique. And I'm grateful that I shot with Forrest because he's shot a lot in Vegas. And so he's used to dealing with all that stuff. And he has like a regimen that he forced me to do. Or not forced me to do. Yeah. So if you've shot in Vegas before, you're going to think like, oh, this is 20 degrees cooler. It's nice, but you definitely should abide by the same sort of regimen. So yeah, we drank a ton of Pedialyte, had several electrolyte drinks and water. Luckily, USPSA provided water on and cold water on all the stages, which was really cool. So I will say that the ground, like Cameo is basically like cut out of a rock mountain. So like the ground is super hard. The shoes I have are like North Face trail shoes, and they're just garbage. My feet hurt at the end of the day. It was terrible. So I have to change something up on that. One thing that we did do, so we, like I said earlier, we found that you could not drive to the stages. So we borrowed a couple wagons from buddies, and I'm now a big wagon guy. Hey Max, I'm a wagon guy.
You're a wagon guy?
I'm a wagon guy. So nice, just loading, two ammo cans with different 9mm ammo in each of them, and then laying my PCC on top, obviously cased, and had a cooler there with a little bit of ice, and the soft side cooler with a little bit of ice and a bunch of drinks, and my other like small box that had like knee pads and lube and some other stuff in there. And just drag that thing around. Even put it on the trailer when the old dude took me to the stage, which was fantastic. Oh, that's the other thing is those guys hang out in the parking lot, and so when you're ready to go to the stages, they'll give you a ride to the stage, which is cool.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know, man. I'm in the market for a wagon, I guess. I'm now shooting from a wagon. It was great not being able to, or not having to haul that stuff around. And even then, like we we're only shooting a PCC and a pistol. It's not like we had a full carbine and a shotgun and all your shotgun shells and caddies and things like that. So it was a light and load, but it was cool to not have to hump it around when it was 100 and some degrees outside.
Well, hey, I'm going through some spring cleaning right here. I think I might have one for you.
Just wait till you're my age, buddy. You're going to be asking for it back.
Maybe. All right. So thumbs up or down? Must attend for next year. What do you think?
You know what, man? I'm going to shoot it again. I'm going to shoot it again next year. Especially if it's at Cameo, because that's, 6 hours away from me. If it's much farther away, I'll have to, think hard about it, but I enjoyed it so much and I enjoyed the format, and it really made me think about the different things, that I enjoyed the novelty of it coming from 3-gun, and I love shooting all kinds of guns, and I like that. I liked it because it confirmed my pre-existing bias that PCC does not belong in 3-gun, in 2x4, and that given its own sport, it could be really fun and flourish. And this is its own sport. It's unique. It's not like anything you've shot before, and I really thought it was cool. The trick obviously is to shoot as much steel with the PCC as you possibly can, but there were some areas where it's like, okay, well, if I shoot those targets over there with the PCC, I'm going to have to take 2 steps back to dump the PCC and then switch to my pistol. So if I am competent enough to shoot those with my pistol, then that will save me this amount of time. So there was a lot of gamification and thinking about stage plans and stuff. And I just had a blast. I thought it was really cool. Staff, one thing that we always talk about in 3-gun is USPSA staff is a bunch of assholes. I did not see that. There was one RO that was uppity about me following with a camera, and it was, second day, third squad, so maybe he was just tired as I was, and it wasn't even that big of a deal. Everyone else, super professional, treated everybody nice. No one was giving anyone a hard time about anything. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool, and I absolutely would shoot it again.
Did you get to shoot your pistol enough?
I shot my pistol too much, Max. I shot my pistol so much that I got like 5 FTNs with my pistol. I don't know what's going on. I guess I do know what's going on. I'll say that. I do know what's going on. I have not shot pistol much in the last 2 years. I've concentrated mostly on rifle for several reasons, and I just haven't trained with the pistol nearly as much, and it definitely showed in this match. All but one of my penalties, and I shot a ton of penalties in this match, and all but one of my penalties were on the pistol. So I did shoot pistol quite a bit. I would say that it was enough. And if you're proficient with pistol, you're going to enjoy this match because there are a lot of options for you when you're when you do have the pistol. So yeah, or excuse me, when you do have the proficiency with the pistol.
One more question. So of all the dabbling you have done in PCC, and you have yet to put a ring on one, if you got $2,500 to spend, June 2022, what one are you buying?
I don't know, man. I haven't looked at PCC prices recently. I know I'm not going to buy a SIG MPX because Forrest was shooting all over the place. He was shooting like minute of dinner plate at 75 yards. And granted, he's got a lot of rounds on it, but that just seems weird for a low pressure 9mm round to shoot out a barrel like that. But yeah, so that was disappointing for him. I guess I'd probably pick something Glock Maggie. Like I honestly have no clue what's in the space. I would probably just like call Max Leogranis and be like, hey, what you got? And just do that.
I have to say, I'm still not a fan, but
a PCC?
but I would be really torn between the JP5 and the Dissident. Whatever theirs is.
Okay. Well, I guess I forgot about the Dissident. So I got to shoot on a squad with the dude that had a Dissident, and that thing was a super soft recoiler, legit super soft recoiler. However, that guy forgot that he didn't have magazine extensions, and so he kept running dry.
Yeah.
But I hear fixes in the works. That I'm super impressed. It looks a lot different than the prototype I shot years ago, but even that thing like didn't recoil very much at all. I know Jeremy Gresham has one of those and he loves it. And he apparently last year at Two Gun Nationals, I think it was Two Gun Nationals, he got pulled multiple times. Or no, couldn't have been Two Gun Nationals. One of the area matches, I can't remember which one, but he got pulled multiple times to have his ammo chronoed because it was shooting so soft that the ROs kept pulling magazine or ammo out of his mags.
Which made it even more enjoyable for him.
Exactly. So so now you mentioned the JP5. So I shot with Corey K. Klimashevitz, I'm going to say, but Corey K. And he had a JP5 and he actually let us shoot it after day one. So we got to go over to the Zero Bay and shoot it. And that thing was pretty interesting. It definitely shot softer than the GMR 13 that I was shooting. And he had their new style handguard on there, which was pretty cool. I thought that shot pretty good. It didn't shoot as light as I expected it to from all the hype. But that said, it shot much better than the GMR 13, much lighter than the GMR 13.
Oh yes.
So maybe it's a, I guess comparatively speaking, it shoots better or it shoots really light. It shoots really light for 9mm. It shoots light for what you would expect. I don't know, but it's crazy that a 9mm PCC has a rougher recoil than my 5.56 carbine does.
Yeah. No, I've got to shoot a couple JP5s as stage guns. Definitely intrigued by them. Was not really very enchanted with the GMR. And then, I mean, obviously, I go way back with Dissident. So, and a couple guys have those at work, and they're just naughty. So I'm really intrigued by those two.
Yeah,
but it's interesting. It's definitely come a long way from where the guns, quote unquote, started in the sport. I mean, the guns have been around since World War I, but
yeah. Side note, you might want to check the website. $2,500 is not going to get you a JP5. So
I was just trying to pull a random number so you couldn't say I want this one because I don't have a budget for the one that I really want.
I got you. No, I got you. Yeah. So then there's the one that Zach Smith is, I forgot what the hell it's called, but it's like a collaboration with him and Terran Tactical Innovations, and that one looks really cool. And then there was some guys out there that had PCCs that almost look like, well, not almost look like, that were like steel challenge guns, right? And so some of the steel challenge guns you see are basically like a carbon fiber tube with a 22 LR action on it. And there was a couple of PCCs out there that look like that. So I didn't get to shoot them, so I don't know what they feel like or anything, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Okay. I probably would stick to Glock magazines though.
Okay.
Oh, the other cool thing about the JP5 is for you is that it's ambi.
Oh, I did notice that.
Yeah, so you can notice
that very much.
Yeah, you can drop the magazines with your wrong hand, so that's cool.
Yeah, because a big part of my disenchantment with it from when I was shooting PCC more was anytime there's required reload, which is every week at our USPSA match, I'm screwed. I was just screwed, as a left-handed guy. So they've, a few companies have solved that now. But yeah, no, it's an interesting match for sure. And, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I mean, I'm curious to see if we're going to see these types of matches at the area level or, are there going to be more than one of these on the schedule, going forward, or is it a once a year thing?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you've got, a club match that is a 3-gun club match, you could easily run one of these under multi-gun rules, and I think a lot of and it would be like one of those how you did the what's the running match you did, Trucker.
Oh, the trucker.
Yeah,
Yep.
this would be a trucker kind of thing. Like where, okay, we've got a club, we've got a bunch of guys and gals that come out and shoot our matches. Let's do something fun with a gun that we normally don't use. That would be a fun use for this. You could easily put one of these on at a club. And then secondly, like if you've got a pistol match at your club, you could easily put one on as well. It's like, okay, well, now we're gonna really see who's the better shooter, because it's always PCC versus open division in the standings. So let's put the opposite gun in everybody's hand and see how we shake up. So I think that would be kind of fun. It's almost like the IROC, right? International Race Champions. Did you ever watch that, Adam?
I don't think so. No,
dude, it's freaking sick, man. So first off, like the 3rd gen Camaros, right? The IROC. That's where that name came from, the International Race of Champions. And so they take like NASCAR racers and rally racers and circle track, road course, drag racers, and they put them all in the exact same car and put them on a course together, and then see who the best racer was. Actually,
so at the risk of going down a hole, because I'm really trying to wrap this up for you.
No, I understand.
In District 16 AMA, they're actually doing a class like that in the Enduro series that I raced. There's like a class where they have to ride the same bike at a series of events, but they're like different events, like different style or formats of events they have to ride all year. So like, I mean, they call it the Pete Bog Beatdown. Okay. So this is a 2-hour race in a swamp, basically. And there's a dude riding around in there with like a 650 or 890 like adventure bike with bags on it. I'm like, you're freaking crazy. And then I was like, oh no, he's in whatever they call that class. And I was like, oh, well, that's still dumb, but I guess it makes more sense.
Yeah, so that's kind of like this right here, and I think that'd be cool. Yeah, I thought the format was fun. It'd be cool if there was also a centerfire 2-gun match, because I think we get a lot of crossover people out for that too.
USPSA does need to do a centerfire 2-gun match, and
here's the thing: anybody can put one of those on under USPSA rules, and they want you to do that. It doesn't have to be done under the. It doesn't have to be done by USPSA HQ. So just putting that one out there for people. You can run a shotgun match, a carbine match, a PCC match, a 2-gun match, a 3-gun match, all under USPSA rules. So there are those things out there. And I know that the reason I mention this is not like to, rah-rah USPSA, but I know that a lot of ranges require a standardized rule set when you're going to them saying, I want to put on this match. So that's something to think about.
Well, yeah. And, USPSA reflects their membership. So if their membership's not actively trying to put on those types of matches, they're not going to put energy in that direction. So I have to admit, when I first heard about this match last year, I thought it was the dumbest thing ever put on by a bunch of people who had no understanding of what multi-gun shooters wanted to do.
Dude, same. But
it sounds like they've kind of touched on a little bit of magic here in something that at least could continue on as a standalone event.
Yeah,
annually.
Yes, and I think you're right as far as like they don't know what multi-gunners want as far as like this match goes, and I think you were spot on in that assessment, and I don't think that this is a multi-gunner match, right? But it is a unique and cool format. I did enjoy it in spite of it not being a typical match that would appeal to multi-gunners. So,
yeah, I mean, if there were shotguns, it would be better.
Or rifles, I don't know. But
anyway,
so last thing I got to say before we wrap it up here, Amax, is that IWI did hook me up with a slot to this match. So super thanks to IWI for all the stuff that they do for me and for the show, for sponsoring the shooting sports and things like that. Much appreciated, and really appreciate the opportunity to go and to represent them. So thank you, IWI. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and they're doing a lot of cool stuff in the space. They've got high quality, high value products coming out right now. So I actually run across Tom quite a bit. We run in the same circles on
Tom
the law
Alabrando.
enforcement side. Yeah. So, super cool stuff, definitely an emerging brand from like a branding perspective, but they're doing super cool stuff and the product is pretty legit. So if you're in the market, check them out.
Yep. By the way, have you seen the Masada Slim?
No.
It's their new carry gun. Yeah, so they got the Masada, which I've been shooting for a couple years now. And then just got the Masada Tactical, just had to put out a video on that. And then now they have a Masada Slim, which hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on soon, which is like a kind of like a 320 XL competitor, like a Hellcat competitor. So pretty excited about that one. Can't wait to check that out.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I've been slim for years.
Oh, last thing. So this match, AMAC should be proud of me. I did vloggy style YouTube videos of the stages, of the walkthrough and the stages. So I put out a video a day for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. One of the walkthrough, one of the first day of shooting, and one of the second day of shooting. So
did they get views?
Yep, they did. They got comments on there as well. People like, where are the protesters? So check out those on the 3-Gun Show YouTube channel. So there you go. I
keep threatening to start a vlog, and so far I've not made good on this threat. But I watch enough of them, so I feel like I should do one of these.
Well, anyway, you inspired me because you kept telling me that it was a good idea, so I did it, and there you go.
Proud of you, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Well, on that note, that's enough 3-Gun Show for one day, or at least this is all you get. So, from Adam Maxwell, this is Dave Hartman. He doesn't even know what to say. He always points to me for the out, and he doesn't even have an out. What are you gonna do? Here we go. I'm pointing at you on the Skype. What do you?
We'll see on the range, kids.
That's what you got?
That's what I got, buddy. That's what I always say.
Drop it like it's
hot. On the range.
All right. Well, we'll see you on the range, everybody.
Bye-bye. Todd, welcome back to the show. For those of you listening, Todd Lewis is on the line, and he's giving away a couple guns. Todd, how's that giveaway going, buddy?
It's been interesting, Dave. Thanks for having me back. So
great to see you.
Yeah, well, you see me. Fantastic.
Sorry, great to hear from you.
Even better. So we had a little bit of a kerfuffle, I think. The powers that be decided to censor everything that we were doing, trying to give away this awesome rifle and awesome pistol, and so we've had to work around it creatively.
So the powers that be being the meta versus the meta people, right? So the lizard people that are Mark Zuckerberg and his ilk, they don't like guns, and so the hashtag that we used, Multigun Range Day, for you to enter this giveaway.
On Instagram.
On Instagram was shadow banned. So when I would look at it from the 3-Gun Show account, I could see, half a dozen entries on one day, and then the next day there'd be 2, and the next day there'd be a bunch, and then it was messed up.
IDPA target now when I look, so that's all I see.
Yeah,
so.
it's messed up. So we had some
apologize.
Problems. Yeah. So I guess from a giveaway perspective, we got to figure out another way to give it up or to give these guns away. So for the people that entered, big apology. Thanks for playing. Unfortunately, we couldn't see your entry because of the shadow banning from Instagram, but we learned something. Never do a giveaway on Instagram again.
Yeah. And it was possible. I just think it was going to be as high probable as it was. So sorry to anyone that spent the time to post their picture and tag us in it. If you hear this and you did that, and I don't get a hold of you on Instagram to say thank you and discuss, we're going to give you a holster for free to say thank you for doing that.
Nice.
From UM Tactical. Yeah, I mean, I want to celebrate these guys, but they censored us pretty hardcore. And so if you did submit a photo and you tagged it correctly and I don't get a hold of you, please reach out and go to the URL that's going to be mentioned here for the giveaway, shoot me a message, and we'll get you sorted out. But we have a workaround, I think, don't we, Dave?
I think so. So Todd is going to set up a landing page for you on his website, which is multigunner.com. Just like it sounds, multigunner.com. So go to multigunner.com/3gunshow. Obviously, the 3 is a number in there. And there will be
not a Roman numeral.
Correct. Don't confuse the people. So multigunner.com/3gunshow, and Todd will have a landing page and explain how you can enter to win 2 guns from Todd's sponsors. And one was
so there's a Century Arms Vishko rifle, which is an AK-47, and it's awesome. It's amazing. It's what I've been shooting. It's the one, if anyone's seen the video and the photos of the carved stock, I put on this gun. It's a cool gun. It's great. It's an amazing rifle. And the second is the Canik SFX Rival pistol, which between us talking last time and getting shadow banned, won the 2022 Industry Choice Awards for the handgun of the year. So someone listening to this hopefully will enter and win a brand new Canik SFX Rival that has like the magwell and it's just an amazing pistol. So I cannot wait to give this to someone. So please enter if you're listening.
There you go. All right. So Todd will have, again, details on this. The giveaway is going to go through July 6th, 2 days after.
Independence Day, freedom, Dave. It's all about the freedom. 2
days after Independence Day, baby. All right. So multigunner.com/3gunshow. Once again, we apologize for the things that were out of our control. We didn't realize that the shadow banning was as bad as it was with a hashtag. Kind of crazy. But yeah, so thanks again, Todd, for being here. Thanks for setting this landing page up for people to win the Vishka and the Rival. And as always, thanks for listening.
Dave, thank you for existing, buddy. Appreciate it.